Here you go.
Do you have an extra pen?
I have.
I found it online.
You know what's weird? These
Do you have an extra pen? Yes, you do.
That's exactly.
All right, but then
Oh, I thought that was like a
Laser?
it was thrown away
Considered a weapon
without
these days.
reading.
Middle Eastern got the laser.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
You don't have to do that. Here, read this. You know, so it makes it a little easier than you
Good.
just saying it because it's in writing.
Yeah. He's not been there in a very long time. Those were in his rough days, okay?
Okay.
No gas.
I sent the link to Todd. So
None
I
of
can
those
forward it
things.
to you.
You're funny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does he drive
Yep.
the fire
Because
guy?
that's
He
the only
does.
place I found.
He
All right, we're going to begin in about a minute.
Yeah.
Ensure your cell phones are off or on silent,
Sunoco.
and council members ensure your microphone's on.
Where do you live?
On State.
Oh, really?
The corner of State and Jefferson. And Sunoco's open at like 3 a.m., okay?
Lock your doors.
Oh, for sure. I went one day and there was a shooting the day before. I'm like, I didn't know.
Take a look at it. It's just been one thing after another.
All right, good evening, everybody. Today is May 9th, 2022. We're here in the council chambers. Today is a regular legislative meeting of the Barberton City Council. Before we begin our regular legislative meeting, we're going to start off with City Parks and Property with Mr. Jaber, and no, it is 6 p.m.
Thank you, Mr. President. City Properties and Park Recreation meeting today at 6 o'clock, May 9th. Location council chambers, all members are present, our council also noted, and myself as chair. We have, this was amended, by the way, also. We have topics of discussion. A letter from Jeremy Flaker, Finance Director, requesting legislation to approve a renewal of the Finance Department's office lease. The renewal of this lease would be for a five one-year term, cancelable at the end of the year. The current lease expires on August 1st, 2022. Emergency wording requested. Any comments or remarks?
Is this the late request?
Seeing none?
Yeah,
Oh, I'm sorry. Ms. Angela?
I'm sorry. I just want to know if the lease amount, has it increased? It's a 5-year lease.
That's a good question. Mr. Flaker's not here today, is he? Nope.
Is it this one?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I don't recall what's in the letter there. Typically, it's been a 5-year lease. I believe that it's optional, either 5-year lease or a 1-year lease option for 5 years.
Okay.
But the price will go up every year. You may have an inflationary clause in there or a consumer price index.
Okay.
But I
And,
believe there's 2 options. The second one, if we do 1 year with 4 renewals.
Renewals,
there's
okay.
an increase tied to it.
yes, how many employees are down there in finance now? Do you know, Jamie? Do you know? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8?
I think the reason that we don't have the room here, capacity for our employees. So we've been down there 20 plus years, 15, 20 years. And the goal has kind of been to get out of that agreement, at least not get out of the agreement, but kind of bring them back in here or in new buildings. We've been talking for years for a justice center / municipal building. We're closer now than ever before, but we don't feel that we're ready to move tomorrow. But we feel that if we have an annual renewal on the lease, that we might be able to figure something out. We've got some pending grants at the state and federal level for brick and mortar. So with the construction costs going up and all that, back in 2017, I believe the estimated cost for a new build for municipal justice center was about 15 to 17 million. So I know that every year since then, including that year, we applied to the state capital budget and we applied again this year. So we'll see what we're at.
Yeah, I would really like to see finance out of the basement and with the rest of the departments, but I understand because of the equipment that they have and everything, we just don't have the drive-through window too, yeah. Mhm, mhm.
Now,
Okay,
the
thank you.
maintenance on that property, we don't take care of that, correct?
Correct.
It's triple net. Awesome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Heidi?
Thank you, Chair. Mr. Mayor, you may not know off the top of your head, but is there any city-owned buildings that we could relocate that would none that would even be feasible? Chair?
Yes, Ms.
Is
Gobert?
that due to the internet service that is available in that building?
There is fiber to that building. That is a plus for the operation, but the drive-through window is another plus. And I know in past conversations with the owner, not this time around, I haven't been involved with it yet, he was unwilling to rent or lease just the drive-through window.
Yeah.
There was a package deal, the office down below, the drive-through window. At least back then, the drive-through window was used quite heavily by the residents. We are seeing, and we are tracking a shift of use of, some people still like to come pay with cash, some people like check. Some people are doing more of the automated payment, and most people like to go through the drive-through.
Yeah.
So we're tracking that, and it's starting to change. So, no,
Okay.
nowhere else.
Thank you.
Mr. President?
Thanks, Chair. This is going 3 readings.
3 readings.
So there's gonna-
It says emergency wording, but we can do 3 readings if you want to get the information.
Yep, and then we can get that lease information. I did
Yeah.
want to clarify, in the request letter, it does say in here, the only difference between the lease this year, or this lease and the previous lease will be that the lease will be adjusted each year based on consumer price index, whereas the previous leases had a CPI adjustment after 36 months. And then, like the mayor said, it would be annual. It's an annual lease, 5 separate
Right.
leases for 5 years.
Are you guys okay with emergency wording, or?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we need
Yeah.
it, it'll be, go into effect after the
that.
3 readings.
Mhm.
And we could, I'm sorry, I'm speaking.
Oh, you good, that's right.
We could pass this earlier if we have the information, like after 2 readings.
Okay.
We have till August, but.
Yeah. All right, can I get a motion for this, please?
I'll make a motion.
And I'll second it.
And a vote, please?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you. All right, we have another request, a letter from Mr. Don Patterson, Director of Parks Rec, requesting legislation into contract with the National Auto Fleet Group, purchase of additional $8,700 from the ARPA funds to be used to purchase a light transit bus for usage with Parks and Recreation Department programming and other programs as needed. The price increase is because the 2023 models are out of stock. We have to purchase 2024. The total cost will be $108,236.66. Emergency wording requested.
Oh, my God. I know.
Everything's going up. I mean, it is what it is. And I don't think we're getting this early too, I don't think, right?
No.
No,
Yeah,
yeah, it's, he said June of next year.
yeah.
But I called him and, I gave him the previous purchase order so they can hold the price so it won't go up again. But again, all the 22s and 23s were sold out, so that's why the price of it was being pulled.
Mr. Mayor?
Since this money came through ARPA, we discussed this, Mr. Patterson notified us, because you guys just passed this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah.
He notified me as soon as he could about the increase. We talked about it at the ARPA committee, so we were wondering if we could increase the PO by $8,700 or not to exceed state bid pricing. That way, if there is an increase between now and next year, as long as it's under state bid pricing,
Right.
because Mr. Patterson, told you guys approved it, called the vendor, flip it this morning, it's up $8,700. So, we want to keep it, we go by state bid pricing, so I don't know if you guys want to add that wording to it, because we don't want to come back another time, if it were to go up.
I think we should,
I think so.
I think we
too.
should add that wording.
Mhm.
We have that now, or we won't,
Should we,
should we just wait till
well, we're
next?
just getting it out of committee. We
Right.
can amend it through Lori right
Okay.
before we vote on it. Correct?
You could amend it.
You can amend it right now,
Right now.
before it leaves
Okay.
committee.
Okay.
So how you want to amend it? How you want to say exactly?
That's up to your committee.
Mr. Fry?
I'll make a motion that we amend it to add state bid pricing.
Okay.
Not to exceed.
Yeah, I'm sorry, not to exceed.
So not to exceed state bid pricing? Okay. Ms. Fry, you okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Ms. Angela, you hand up?
Yes, I was just going to say, I think we should, I'm not on the committee, but I'm just saying that we need to lock that in, because you're looking at a 2024, you know, we're not going to get it till June of 2023, so we really need to lock that in.
Okay. All right, take a motion for that, please.
I'll make a motion.
Mrs. Fry,
I will
As
second.
amended.
as amended.
I will second that.
And Mr. Heidig. And vote?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. And we have pending legislation for ordinance 62-2022. Any questions on that?
Real quick.
Mr. Hyde?
Thank you, Chair. Mayor, is the company Lampion ready to roll if we
Yes.
pass this?
Yes.
Thank you.
Ms. Fry?
And, Mayor, Judge, you did tell us last week that the lighting would be guaranteed for 5 years.
Yes, so
Okay.
one gentleman was watching council and was emailing me as you guys were asking questions, but I didn't have my email up. So when I got back downstairs, he had emailed me and said, yes, it's for 5 years.
Okay.
Thank you. All right, any miscellaneous discussion? Mr. Heidig?
Thank you, Chair.
Oh, yes.
Director, has there been any progress on the security camera front for the parks?
Well, I have one quote so far. I'm still working on getting 2 others. But they did break it down for each park. That way, if we want to try one park until we get other quotes, I think that may be an option.
Of all the parks you have right now, which ones are the most, you say problem, have the most problems? You get
Well,
most
we had
concerns?
the shooting at Tusk last year, and then Webb is an issue, and it's really because the pavilion is in the back of the structure. So those would be my 2 priority, as well as the complex that has a lot of traffic. That has our most traffic right now. There's activity Tuesday through Sunday, every evening.
Okay. Awesome. Any other remarks or concerns? Greer?
Thank you, Chair. The service, is that for the cameras? What's the service look like annually or fee-wise? Like, is it Wi-Fi?
There's no
Is it-
service annual fee with this company. A lot of them have been staying away from it because of us not having fiber and Wi-Fi. This company actually has a setup where they'll have a unit at each site, and we'll have a laptop, and we'll go there and pull up whatever we need, and film recycles every 30 days. So like after that 30th day, it'll go back. Not everything's taken off, but it works that way. So there's no cost besides the upfront.
Awesome. Thank you. That's also known as like closed circuit TV.
Nice.
Ms. Fry?
I just wanted to verify that Mr. Patterson said that Tuscarora and Elson are the 2 parks that would be the first to go
I mean, that's
because of the
priority,
problems.
yes.
Yeah. Okay. I'm just putting it in.
And they're
my notes.
roughly per park, they're in a ballpark of between 3,000 and 8,000 per park
Okay.
for the whole setup. Some of them have different, like the lake has 4 different points, so that's probably the most. And then smaller ones, like Brightenstein, we have one unit that get like the whole park, and that was probably the cheapest one.
Director, are there any of the parks that you can almost deem that it's not necessary that the parks are, certain ones are so underutilized?
I wouldn't say that. I mean, they're all, at some point, they've all been vandalized, and something has happened as well as like, as minimal as turf and fields, breaking out glass, graffiti, things like that. So I wouldn't say none of them. There's none that wouldn't need one. I just would say we would prioritize, which ones we would do in order.
Thank you.
I have a question. Is there a guarantee, like with vandalism and such, are these cameras going to be so high that someone couldn't vandalize the cameras?
Yeah, the guys, I mean, they're a really good group. They actually wanted to speak to council, and I
Okay.
could possibly have them come in.
Be nice.
They did a lot of homework. I mean, certain cameras they didn't give us quotes on because you can like throw latches over and snatch them down so they wouldn't look like more that you would put on the wall. Some of them actually have brackets around them where you actually would have to, break the bracket for the camera. So I can get them in here. They will actually want to come and talk to council, so I can try to arrange for them to come to it.
Thank you. That'd be nice.
That would be nice, yeah. Thanks.
All right. Any other remarks or discussions? All right. Thank you. Seeing none, motion to adjourn, please.
I'll make a motion
Mr.
to
Frye,
adjourn.
I will second that.
Mr. Heidig. And we adjourn today, sir, at 6:14.
Thank you, Mr. Jaber. Next up is Public Welfare and Safety with Mrs. Fry.
Thank you, Mr. President. It is Monday, May 9th. The time is 6:15 PM. I am bringing the Public Welfare and Safety Committee meeting to order. We are in council chambers. All members of my committee are present, and the members are myself, Mr. Griffin, and Mrs. Coburn. All other council members are also in attendance, as well as guests as noted on my agenda sheet. We have no new requests for legislation. We do have one piece of pending legislation, and it is on the agenda tonight for passage. And it is a commendation for Lieutenant Edward Kramick, a resolution of the Council of the City of Barberton to honor and give public recognition to Lieutenant Edward Kramick for his 30 years of dedicated service to this city as a member of the Barberton Fire Department. Does anyone have any remarks regarding that? Okay. Does anyone have any miscellaneous items that are, that have to do with public welfare and safety that they would like to discuss? No? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Motion made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by
Mr. Griffin.
Mr. Griffin. And we are adjourned at 6:16 PM. Thank you.
Thank you, Mrs. Fry. Next up is Rules, Marketing, and Development with Mr. Griffin.
Thank you, Mr. President. I would like to call this meeting to order, May 9th. We are meeting in council chambers. All members are present and all others noted. Tonight, we have no request for legislation. Do I have any discussion, miscellaneous discussion from the body or from the committee? Hearing none, do I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make that motion.
Thank you, Mr. Heidig.
I'll second.
Thank you. We're adjourned at 6:18.
Thank you, Mr. Griffin. Next up is City Utilities with Mrs. Coburn.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to call to order the city's utilities committee. All members are present, which is myself, Chairman Carol Fry, and Erica Bailey. All other council and members as noted. We have no requests for legislation this evening. We have multiple pending. The purchase of the property on 157 15th Street. That is for $51,243.75 and declaring an emergency. All the properties being purchased are all being done with FEMA grant money for the flood mitigation. The second one is the property at 165 Arthur Street for $64,500, again declaring an emergency. The third one is 177 Arthur Street for $62,500 and declaring an emergency. The emergency is so that they can do the closing and get these properties torn down as soon as possible. Is there any miscellaneous discussion for utilities from, I would like to mention that I've had multiple complaints of the trash cans being left on the curb for the whole week or left in front of people's homes, parked, stored by the front porch or the front door in view of everyone. So I went through my ward and found 235 homes that had the trash cans sitting in a very conspicuous place. I went through part of Ward 4 and only found about 30. I didn't do the other wards because I talked to both Mrs. Angeloff and Mrs. Fry, and we thought we had something already written up, and we don't. So we're going to be introducing some wording to amend the ordinance to include, Mrs. Fry.
We want to amend ordinance 10-2018 to read, right now, it reads, all trash containers and receptacles must be removed from the city right-of-way within 24 hours of trash pickup. And to that particular statement, we would like to amend it and add 24 hours of trash pickup, and we want to continue it, and stored either in a garage on the side of the house or behind the house. So that's how we want to amend it. Initially, we were going to say out of view, but since some people don't even have any space to get it out of view, we're taking that out and just making it a little bit more reasonable, but just so that it's not on the right of way, it's not on your front porch, it's not, creating an eyesore. So that's what we are proposing, and we will get the wording to Renee to have it amended.
Yes, sir.
I love the idea, and I see a lot in Ward 5, like you said. Who's going to enforce it?
Building department will have the authority to enforce it, just like they have the authority to ticket the trash cans that are on the curb after 24 hours. They can just write a ticket right then. They don't have to wait and give them a letter. So this will be in building as far as that goes. It won't be a police issue, but you'll get a warning and then a ticket for leaving them where they. It's like you said, Ward 5, they're sitting everywhere, next to the driveway, next to the house, piled with trash, and it's just not very becoming at all. So we just want them to move them so that they're not right there in front of everybody else and their neighbors having to see them. Yes, sir.
I actually have 3 questions, so hopefully they're, I know, I'm sorry. One, what is the current penalty?
They get a ticket, I don't know what the penalty is.
I
but they
saw
get-
somewhere, and I don't know if I highlighted it, but I saw somewhere that it could be a fine up to $500, but
Yes,
I cannot
that's
find
for
it.
leaving the trash can out on the curb.
Mhm.
So we can.
So maybe they'll have to amend that to what the price would be as far as for not keeping it in a reasonable place. I'll say reasonable. Okay, it says each permit holder shall be required. No, wait a minute, that's wrong. That's a bond. That's permit holders. We'll get into that, yeah. We will
So
get
we
into
wanted to
it.
bring it up and get more input from.
Yeah,
other
and we
people.
will,
Yeah, that's mainly why I was bringing it up, is for discussion at this point.
Then my
And,
second question, somebody in the administration might be able to answer this. Do we have the manpower to enforce
Yes.
this right now?
So,
Do you have an extra pen?
I
found it online.
what's weird? These do you have an extra.
trash can units were new.
Regular legislative meeting, we're going to start off with City Parks and Property with Mr. Jaber, and no, it is 6 PM.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. Fleck is not here today, is he?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
I don't recall what's in the letter there.
They were already looking at it because they got the complaints with a dozen pictures. And there was nothing on the books that they could enforce.
My second question,
And that's how this came
somebody in
up.
the administration might be able to answer this.
One of our new hires, we probably do not have.
Right.
And then my last question is, I do know some residents that have contacted Kimball, and they're elderly, and the people get out of the truck, go up to their garages and pull those back.
Right.
Sometimes they can't get to
Right.
have somebody come and pull those back,
They-
within a day.
They pull them back.
They put them back where they got them.
There's
Yeah, I
cou-
watch all the time.
couple of
If they're
them,
not-
I know they don't, and then
We
family
should-
members come over and put it back for them there.
They're
But-
supposed to do it, so we should contact Kimball and let them know that they're not putting them back.
Right, because they're supposed to put them right back where they got them.
Okay. I
And
will,
the exact
I will advise the
location.
residents of that one. They just thought it was nice that they were able to get them down there,
Yeah.
and I do know some that don't get them back up.
Right, they are supposed to, so we would want to contact Kimball on that.
I will advise them such. Thank you much.
Do you have an extra?
Any other questions?
Regular legislative meeting, we're going to start off with City Parks and Property with Mr. Jaber, and note it is 6 p.m.
Advertised.
Thank you, Mr.
You know,
President.
with this new ordinance and everything. And maybe on the water bill, put a little
Yes.
perk on there that you will get a warning or you'll get a violation. Because there's so many that they don't know that. You know, they think they can leave it out.
Second question.
I personally have called landlords.
Somebody in the administration might be able to answer
And said, you need to tell your tenants
this.
that they need to pull that trash back. Because if the wind comes and it's in the street.
Then my last
So,
question
just a little bit
is,
of
I do know
advertising, I
some
think.
residents
Who am I
that
talking
have contacted
Joyce?
Kimball,
That would help.
elderly,
And then
and
that way
the
they can say,
people
I
get out of the
didn't know
truck,
anything
go up
about
to
it.
their
Well, you put
garages
it in
and
the
pull
paper
those
and
back.
you had it on the water
Sometimes
bill,
they
and
can't
that's all
get
we use
to
for
have somebody
advertising.
come and pull those
Yeah,
back
they still will.
within a day. To Councilor Angeloff's point.
They put them
when
back where they got them.
Putting
Yeah,
it
I watch
together,
out.
there's a couple of them
They're
I know
not.
they don't, and then just family members come over and put it back for them there.
They're
But-
supposed to do it, so we should contact Kimball and let them know that they're not getting it.
Right, because they're supposed to put them right
Understood.
back where they
Thank
got
you.
them.
Thank you.
I will advise
Will
the
this also
residents of that
include
one. They just
dumpsters?
thought it was nice that they were able to get them down there, and I do know some
You
that
have to get a permit for
Yeah.
don't get them back
dumpsters
up.
have permit. They are supposed to. so-
Okay.
I can't recall the exact wording.
I will advise them such. Thank you much.
Do you have an extra?
Regular legislative meeting, we're going to start off with City Parks and Property with Mr. Jaber, and note it is 6 p.m.
Advertised.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
and that's
New
actually,
ordinance
it's
and
back.
everything.
It's sitting
And,
right on, and it's
maybe
on
the water
grass, and I
bill,
don't, I think that's
put a
against
little
Ohio
perk on there
EPA.
that,
Because it's sitting on grass, right across from Headed's Car Wash
because
behind
there's so
Magic
many,
City Motor Cars.
that they don't know that, you know, they.
Yeah,
they think
there's
they can
a
leave it out.
dumpster that's
question.
I personally have
right
called
on.
landlords.
Somebody in the
and said,
administration
you
might
need
be
to
able to
tell your
answer
tenants
this.
that they need to pull that trash back.
That's not through.
Because if the wind comes and it's in the street.
Then my last
So,
question
just a little bit
is,
of
I do know
advertising, I
some
think.
residents that have contacted
No,
Kimball.
it's
That would help.
Elderly,
And then
and
that way
the
they can say,
people
I
get out of the
I didn't know
truck,
anything
go up
about
to
it.
their
Well, you put
garages
it in
and
the
pull those
paper
back.
and you had it on the water
Sometimes
bill,
they
and
can't
that's all
get
we use for
to
advertising.
have somebody
I
come
called
and pull
the
those back.
dumpster company myself.
To
It's not through
Councilor
Kimball,
Angelo's
it's
point.
through
They put them
private.
back where they got them.
And I let them know
Putting it
that.
together, there's a couple of them I know they don't, and
I don't know.
then just family members come over and
A
put
day,
it
and
back
then whenever
for
they
them.
went back, it's back on the street, so.
Park your car there for
I mean, there's people that, like, if there's, if you can't have cars going both ways.
Will this also
include
dumpsters?
You have to like sit and wait to go around, it's just,
And I do know some
yeah.
that
It's not a,
don't
not
get
a
it
good
back
spot.
up.
Are we looking at dumpsters?
Okay.
I can't recall the exact
Just
wording.
I will
transpired.
advise them such. Thank you much.
Do you have an extra? I don't.
Regular legislative meeting, we're going to
That's
start
kind of a
off with City Parks and Property with Mr. Jaber, and note it is 6 p.m.
Advertised.
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
and that's actually, it's back. It's sitting right on, and it's on grass, and I think that's against Ohio EPA. Because it's sitting on grass, right across from Headed's Car Wash behind
There's so
Magic
many,
City Motor Cars.
They don't know that. You know,
Yeah, there's a dumpster that's right on.
Somebody in the administration might be able to
Tell the
answer
tenants
this.
that they need to pull their trash back.
That's not
Because if the wind comes, it's in the street.
Then my last
So,
question
This is Coburn.
I do know some residents that have contacted.
Is there a time? I have a
that would
resident
help.
right now.
And then that way they can
that
say.
they've been out
I
there,
didn't know anything
Go
about
to
it.
their
Well, you
garage
put it
and
in
pull those
the-
back.
It's
Sometimes
within
they
20
years, and they have
come
called
pull
the,
those back.
multiple
dumpster
cans
myself.
for
It's
things
not
where they got the
They
extra
bring
ones
back
from.
where they
I
got
have
And I
no
let 'em
idea.
know that.
Yeah, there's a couple of them are, I know they don't, and
I don't know.
just family members come over.
A day, and
back
whenever
for
they
them.
went back, it's back on the street, so.
Park your car there first.
I mean, there's people that, like, if you can't have cars going both ways.
Well,
this also includes
dumpsters.
dumpsters, you have to like sit and wait to go around, it's just,
I do know some
yeah.
that
It's not
don't
a
get them
good
back up.
spot. Okay.
Well, these people here,
Thank you much.
given us a warning 2 weeks ago.
Legislative meeting, we're going to start off with city parks and property with Mr. Jaber. The note is 6 p.m.
Advertised.
So,
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
and that's
Really
actually,
put
it's
some
back,
heat.
it's sitting right on, and it's on rats, and I think that's against our EPA.
we're gonna have to, they have
Right across from Pettit's Car Wash behind
There's so many, they don't know that. You know,
Yeah, there's a dumpster that's right on.
Somebody in the administration might be able to
Tell the
answer
tenants
this.
that they need to pull their trash back.
That's not
Because if the wind comes, it's in the street.
Then my last
So,
question
This is
I
Coburn.
do know some residents that have contacted.
Is there a time? I have a
that would
resident
help.
right now.
And then that way they can
that
say.
they've been out
I didn't
there
know anything
Go
about
to
it.
their
Well, you
garage
should
and
have
pull
been-
those back.
It's within
Years, and they have
Called the,
multiple cans
myself.
for things where they got the extra ones from. I have
And I
no
let 'em know
idea.
that.
Yeah, there's a couple of them are, I know they don't, and family members come over.
A day, and
back
whenever
for
they
them.
went back, it's back on the street, so.
Park your car there first.
I mean, there's people that, like, if you can't have cars going both ways. Well, this also includes dumpsters, you have to like sit and wait to go around, it's just,
in
yeah.
summertime or whatnot, and then it will reflect on the water bill that you're paying for an extra one. That's another way to stretch it. If not, then it would have an extra call to Kim.
Legislative meeting, we're going to start off with city parks and property with Mr. Jaber. The note is 6 p.m.
Advertised.
So,
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
and that's actually, it's back, it's sitting right on, and it's on rats, and I think that's against our EPA.
we're gonna have to, they have
Right across from Pettit's Car Wash behind
So many, they don't know that. You know,
Yeah, there's a dumpster that's right on.
Somebody in the administration.
Thank you, Mrs.
Tell the
Colbert.
tenants that they need to pull their trash back.
Last but not least, we, finance and personnel, Mr. Haddock.
Then my last
So,
question,
Mr.
President, I do know
advertising.
some residents.
Finance and personnel is
Is there a
6:31,
time?
Monday, May 9th.
I have a resident right now.
And then that way they
Chambers.
can say.
They've been out
This is
there.
Councilors Coburn, President Councilor Thompson, and President Rare,
And they
myself
have
as chair.
Called the,
Multiple cans
myself.
for things where they got the extra ones
Requests
from.
tonight, the first one is a letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation approving and adopting tax increment financing associated with the development located at 635 Norton Avenue, emergency wording, and one reading of the
There's
list.
people that, like, if
Mr. Mayor,
there's,
could you
if
give
you
us a
can't have
little
cars
insight to
going
that?
both ways. Well, this
And
also
to the
includes
council,
dumpsters.
if there's any question on this, feel free to direct it
In
on the mayor.
summertime or whatnot,
Floor is yours.
and then it will reflect on the water bill that you're paying for an extra one. That's another way to stretch it. If not, then it would have an extra call to Kim.
Legislative meeting, we're going to start off with city parks and property with Mr. Jaber. The note is 6 p.m.
Advertised.
So,
Thank you, Mr.
Yeah,
President.
and that's actually, it's back, it's sitting right on, and it's on rats, and I think that's against our EPA.
they have
Right across from Pettit's Car Wash behind
So many, they don't know that. You know,
Yeah, there's a dumpster that's right on.
Somebody in the administration.
Thank you, Mrs. Colbert.
Tenants that they need to pull their trash back.
Last but not least, we, finance and personnel, Mr. Haddock.
Then my last
So,
question,
Mr. President,
some residents
Finance and
that
personnel is
is there a
6:31,
time?
Monday, May 9th.
I have a
Council Chambers. Committee consists of Councilors Coburn, President Councilor Thompson, and President Greer, myself as chair. All others noted. A couple of requests tonight. First one, the letter from Mayor Judd requesting legislation approving and adopting tax increment financing associated with the development located at 635 Norton Avenue, emergency wording, and one reading by
There's people that, like, if
Mr. Mayor,
there's,
could you
if
give us
you
a
can't have
little
cars
insight to that?
well, this also
To the
includes
council,
dumpsters.
if there's any question on this, feel free to direct it to the mayor. Floor is yours.
Reflect on the water bill that they're paying for an extra one. That's another way to do it. If not, if you have an extra one, I don't know.
Legislative meeting, we're going to start off with city parks and property. Mr. Jaber, note at 6 p.m.
Advertise.
Yeah, and that's actually, it's back. It's sitting right on, and it's on the rack, so I think that's like a right across from the car wash.
They don't work.
Yeah, there's a dumpster that's right on.
Thank you, Mrs. Colbert. Last but not least, finance and personnel. Mr. Harding.
My last question, Mr. President, finance and personnel is Monday, May 9th, 2022, Council Chambers. Committee consists of Councilors Coburn, President Councilor Thompson, and President Greer, myself as chair. All others noted. A couple of requests tonight. First one, the letter from Mayor Judd requesting legislation approving and adopting tax increment financing associated with the development located at 635 Norton Avenue, emergency wording, and one reading by
There's
legislature.
people that, like, if
Mr. Mayor,
there's,
could you
if
give us
you
a
can't have
little
cars
insight to that?
well, this also
To the
includes
council,
dumpsters.
if there's any question on this, feel free to direct it to the mayor. Floor is yours.
Reflect on the water bill that they're paying for an extra one. That's another way to do it. If not, if you have an extra one, I don't know.
Legislative meeting, we're going to start off with city parks and property. Mr. Jaber, note at 6 p.m.
Advertise.
Yeah, and that's actually, it's back. It's sitting right on, and it's on the rack, so I think that's like right across from the car wash.
They don't work.
Yeah, there's a dumpster that's right on.
Thank you, Mrs. Colbert. Last but not least, finance and personnel. Mr. Harding.
My last question, Mr. President, finance and personnel is Monday, May 9th, 2022, Council Chambers. Committee consists of Councilors Coburn, President Councilor Thompson, and President Greer, myself as chair. All others noted. A couple of requests tonight. First one, the letter from Mayor Judd requesting legislation approving and adopting tax increment financing associated with the development located at 635 Norton Avenue, emergency wording, and one reading by
There's
legislature.
people that, like, if
Mr. Mayor,
there's,
could you give us a
can't have
little
cars
insight to that?
well, this also
To the
includes
council,
dumpsters.
if there's any question on this, feel free to direct it to the mayor. Floor is yours.
Reflect on the water bill that they're paying for an extra one. That's another way to do it. If not, if you have an extra one, I don't know.
Legislative meeting, we're going to start off with city parks and property. Mr. Jaber, note at 6 p.m.
Advertise.
Has to do with infrastructure.
Yeah, and that's actually,
By that
it's back.
property.
It's sitting right on, and it's on the rack, so I think that's like right across from the car wash.
My question is given where that is, what buildings are not be there
Thank you, Mrs. Colbert.
and that money be used if there's any flooding.
Last but not least, finance and personnel. Mr. Harding.
My last question, Mr. President, finance and personnel is Monday, May 9th, 2022, Council Chambers. Committee
consists of Councilors Coburn, President Councilor Thompson, and President Rear, and myself as chair. All others noted. Requests tonight, the first one, the letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation approving and adopting tax increment financing associated with the development located at 635 Norton Avenue. Emergency wording, given what's behind it.
There's people that, like, if
Mr. Mayor, could you give us some insight to that? Council, if there's any question on this, feel free to direct it at me. Floor is yours.
That's another one. If not,
Mayor, maybe you can question this on there. I'm sure that Mr. Jaber, if I sell my house right now,
yeah, and that's actually what it's bad.
that doesn't mean it's property.
Sitting right on, and it's on the rack.
Is that different because it's commercial property?
Right across the car wash.
Okay, so the county sees that property.
My question is given where that is, what part of the buildings are denied either.
Thank you, Mrs. Coburn.
And that money be used if there's any flooding.
Finance and personnel, Mr. Hackett. And that's the
Finance personnel is Monday, May 9th, 2022. Committee consists of Councilors Coburn, President Councilor Thompson, and President Rear, and myself as chair. All others noted. Requests tonight, the first one, the letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation approving and adopting tax increment financing associated with developments located at 635 Norton Avenue. Emergency wording, given what's behind it. Mr. Mayor, could you give us some insight to that? The second one, and I know you just sat down, so you can get ready to stand back up, Mr. Mayor. A letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation to reimburse the general fund for governmental services in the amount of $9,760,503 from the American Rescue Plan Grant Fund. Also calling for legislation to restrict the $9,760,503 being reimbursed to the general fund to the following categories: A, city infrastructure / capital projects, B, community, and C, neighborhoods. So once again, Mr. Mayor,
So the county sees that property.
Question is given directly where that is, what part of the buildings are denied either.
Thank you, Mrs. Coburn.
And that money be used if there's any flooding.
Finance and personnel, Mr. Hackett. And that's the
it was on my amended agenda. So if we call for this, Committee consists of Councilors Coburn, President Councilor Thompson, and myself as chair. All others noted. Requests tonight, the first one, the letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation approving and adopting tax increment financing associated with developments located at 635 Norton Avenue. Emergency wording, given what's behind it. Mr. Mayor, could you give us some insight to that? The second one, and I know you just sat down, so you can get ready to stand back up, Mr. Mayor. A letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation to reimburse the general fund for governmental services in the amount of $9,760,503 from the American Rescue Plan Grant Fund. Also calling for legislation to restrict the $9,760,503 being reimbursed to the general fund to the following categories: A, city infrastructure / capital projects, B, community, and C, neighborhoods. So once again, Mr. Mayor.
So the county sees that property.
Question is given directly where that is, what part of the buildings are denied either.
Thank you, Mrs. Coburn.
And that money be used if there's any flooding.
Finance and personnel, Mr. Hackett. And that's the
It was on my amended agenda. So if we call for this, Committee consists of Councilors Coburn, President Councilor Thompson, and myself as chair. All others noted. requests tonight. The first one is a letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation approving and adopting tax increment financing association with development located at 635 North Avenue. Emergency wording given its one year. Mr. Mayor, could you add and sign that? The second one, and I know you just sat down, so you can get ready to stand back up, Mr. Mayor. A letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation to reimburse the general fund for governmental services in the amount of $9,760,503 from the American Rescue Plan Grant Fund. Also calling for legislation to restrict the $9,760,503 being reimbursed to the general fund to the following categories. A, city infrastructure / capital projects, B, community, and C, neighborhoods.
Given that, once again, next from the president of the council, not questioning given my record there, that is, I can see the presentation, all for that's going to be there, and all for it's covered, all measure that evening, so there's no flooding.
Finance and personnel, Mr. Hackett.
It was on my amended agenda. So, if we call for this, Councilors Coburn, Thompson, that's what's chair, slideshows about it, am I correct, sir? Requests tonight. The first one is a letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation approving and adopting tax increment financing association with development located at 635 North Avenue. Emergency wording given its one year. Mr. Mayor, could you add and sign that? The second one, and I know you just sat down, so you can get ready to stand back up, Mr. Mayor. A letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation to reimburse the general fund for governmental services in the amount of $9,760,503 from the American Rescue Plan Grant Fund. Also calling for legislation to restrict the $9,760,503 being reimbursed to the general fund to the following categories. A, city infrastructure / capital projects, B, community, and C, neighborhoods. Given that, once again, next from the president of the council, not questioning given my record there, that is, I can see the presentation, all for that's going to be there, and all for it's covered, all measure that evening, so there's no flooding.
Finance and personnel, Mr. Hackett.
It was on my amended agenda. So, that we call pending legislation. Do I believe miscellaneous from the chambers? Councilors Coburn, Thompson, that's what's chair, slideshows about it, am I correct, sir?
I know we're not calling it. What we just talked about.
Letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation approving and adopting tax emergency association development located at 635 North Avenue. I'd like to have emergency wording given its one year. Mr. Mayor,
Sure, answers my question. Yeah, I don't agree with you, but that's
the second one, generally, I know you just sat down, so you can get ready to stand back, correct, Mr. Mayor? A letter from Mayor Judge requesting legislation to reimburse the general fund for governmental services in the amount of $9,760,503 from the American Rescue Plan Grant Fund. Also calling for legislation to restrict the $9,760,503 being reimbursed to the general fund to the following categories. A, city infrastructure / capital projects, B, community, and C, neighborhoods. Given that, once again, next from the president of the council, not questioning given my record there, that is, I can see the presentation, all for that's going to be there, and all for it's covered, all measure that evening, so there's no flooding.
finance and personnel, Mr. Hackett.
It was on my amended agenda. So, that we call pending legislation. Do I believe miscellaneous from the chambers? Councilors Coburn, Thompson, that's what's chair, slideshows about it, am I correct, sir?
I know we're not calling it. What we just talked about.
Requesting legislation approving and adopting body tax emergency gallery located at 635 North Avenue. Emergency wording given its one year. Thank you.
Sure, answers my question. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Heidick. That concludes the committee meetings for this evening. We're going to take a 5-minute break and we'll come back.
Judge requesting legislation
legislative meeting.
the general fund for governmental services in the amount of $9,760,503 from the American Rescue Plan grant fund. Also calling for legislation to general fund.
Oh my gosh. That was a salary.
Infrastructure / project community
I heard that. Am I throat wet now? I looked back. Everybody was like, oh, you look back to like try to find. No, I made sure.
It was on my amended agenda. So that pending legislation.
I have some highlights.
You should do
And I have a
silent auction.
Do you?
I know where to call Sure, answers my question. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Heidick. That concludes the committee meetings for this evening. We're going to take a 5-minute break and we'll come back.
Judge requesting legislation the general fund for governmental services in the amount of $9,760,503 from the American Rescue Plan grant fund. Also calling for legislation to general fund.
Oh my gosh. That was a salary. Am I throat wet now? I looked back. Everybody was like, oh, you look back to like try to find. No, I made sure it was there now.
I have some highlights.
You should do.
And I have a
silent auction.
Do you?
I know where to call Sure, answers my question. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Heidick. That concludes the committee meetings for this evening. We're going to take a 5-minute break and we'll come back.
Judge requesting legislation governmental services in the $9,760,503 from the American Rescue Plan grant fund. Also calling for legislation to
Oh my gosh. That was a salary. I looked back. Everybody was like, oh, you look back to
It's gonna be like Austin Powers. Like back in the fire
All right, we're going to begin in about 30 seconds. Please ensure your cell phones are off or on silent. Council members, please ensure your microphone is turned off. My we have two different. So which one's it?
Like back in the fire.
All right. Just trying to wake you up, keep you on your toes. All right, this is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City Council. Today is Monday, May 9th, 2022. I call this meeting to order at 6:58. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance, followed by invocation by Mrs. Thompson. All right, we're going to begin in about 30 seconds. Please ensure your cell phones are off or on silent. Council members, please ensure your microphone is turned off. My We have two airmen. So, which one's it?
Like back in the fire.
All right. Move over to the next public hearing held on Monday. Just trying to wake you up, keep you on your toes. All right, this is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City Council. Today is Monday, May 9th, 2022. I call this meeting to order at 6:50. It was moved by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes stand for the public hearing held on Monday, April 25th, 2022, as presented. Are there any remarks? All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? Minutes are adopted. Please ensure your cell phone minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, April 25th, 2022, as presented.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'd like to second Mr. Heidick's motion to all the minutes as presented.
It was moved by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on April 25th, 2022, as presented. Are there any remarks? Thank you, Ms. Thompson. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Opposed? We have two. Minutes are adopted. So, petitions. Citizens addressing council. Approval of the minutes of the public hearing held on Monday. First reading of ordinance. All right. This is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City Council. Today is Monday, May 9th, 2022. I call this meeting to order. Moved by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes for the public hearing held on Monday, April 5th, 2022, as presented. Are there any remarks? All those in favor signify by motion to suspend. Mrs. Frye. Please ensure yourself on the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, April 25th, 2022, as presented. Mr. Bishop. A motion is made by Mrs. Frye and seconded by Mr. Griffin to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. It was moved by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on April 25th, 2022, as presented. Are there any remarks? Thank you, Ms. Thompson. Yes. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Motion to adopt. We have two. Minutes are adopted. So, petitions. Citizens addressing council. A motion was made by Mrs. Frye, seconded by Mr. Griffin to adopt resolution number 60-2022. This is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City Council. Today is Monday, May 9th, 2022. I call this meeting to order. Moved by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes for the public hearing held on Monday, April 5th, 2022, as presented. Are there any remarks? All those in favor signify by motion to suspend. Mrs. Frye. Please ensure yourself on the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, April 25th, 2022, as presented. Mr. Bishop. A motion is made by Mrs. Frye and seconded by Mr. Motion to suspend the rules as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. It was moved by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on April 25th, 2022, as presented. Are there any remarks? A motion was made by Mrs. Coleman and seconded by Mrs. Frye to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Motion to adopt. We have two. Minutes are adopted. So, petitions.
Yes.
Citizens addressing council. A motion was made by Mrs. Frye, seconded by Mr. Motion to adopt resolution number 60-2022. This is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City Council. Today is Monday, May 9th, 2022. A motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to adopt ordinance number 61-2017. Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes for the public hearing held on Monday, April 5th, 2022, as presented. Are there any remarks? Yes. All those in favor signify by motion to suspend. Mrs. Frye.
Yes.
Yes.
Please ensure yourself on the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, April 5th, 2022, as presented. Mr. Bishop. A motion is made by Mrs. Frye and seconded by Mr. Motion to suspend the rules as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. It was moved by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Thompson to approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on April 25th, 2022, as presented. The motion was made by Mrs. Coleman and seconded by Mrs. Frye to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City. Motion to adopt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second Councilman Davis' motion to suspend.
The motion was made by Mr. Jaber and seconded by Mr. Heidick to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Citizens addressing council. A motion was made by Mrs. Frye, seconded by Mr. Motion to adopt.
Yes.
This is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City Council. Motion to adopt. Monday, May 9th, 2022. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to adopt ordinance number 61-2022. Motion made by Mr. Coburn, seconded by Mr. Heidick to adopt ordinance number 62-2022. All those in favor signify by section to suspend.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Please insert yourself in the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on Monday, April 29th, 2022.
Yes.
A motion is made by Mrs. Fry and seconded by Mr. Motion to suspend the rules as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Moved by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Please call the roll. Approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on April 25th, 2022 as presented. The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to suspend the rules as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City. Motion to adopt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second Council Chambers' motion to suspend.
Motion was made by Mr. Gaber and seconded by Mr. Heidick to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Citizens addresses now. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of resolution number 60-2022.
Yes.
This is a regular legislative meeting of Barberton City. Motion to adopt. Monday, May 9th, 2022. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to adopt ordinance number 61. Motion to adopt. Motion made by Mrs. Coburn, seconded by Mr. Heidick to adopt ordinance number 62-2022.
Yes.
Yes, yes.
Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to adopt ordinance number 63-2022 as
Yes.
Motion was made by Mrs. Fry and seconded by Mr. Motion to suspend as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Moved by Mr. Heidick and seconded by Mrs. Please call the roll. Approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on April 25th, 2022 as presented. The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to suspend as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City. Motion to adopt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second Council Chambers' motion to suspend.
Motion was made by Mr. Gaber and seconded by Mr. Heidick to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Motion to suspend, Mrs. Coburn. Citizens addresses now. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the resolution number 60-2022.
Yes.
Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. To adopt ordinance number 61. Motion to adopt. Motion made by Mrs. Coburn, seconded by Mr. Heidick to adopt ordinance number 62-2022.
Yes.
Motion to adopt, Mrs. Coburn. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to adopt ordinance number 63-2022. Mrs. Fry. Thank you. The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn to adopt ordinance. Second motion to suspend. The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to adopt ordinance number 64-2022. Approve the minutes of the regular legislative meeting held on April 30th. Please call the roll.
Yes.
The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to suspend the rules as required by section 5.10.
Yes.
Motion to adopt.
Thank you, Mr. President. I second Council Chambers' motion to suspend.
Motion to adopt. Motion was made by Mr. Gaber and seconded by Mr. Heidick to suspend the rules as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Motion to read ordinances and resolutions. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Fry to suspend the rules as required by section 5.10 of the resolution number 60. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to suspend the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. To adopt ordinance number 61, motion to adopt. Motion made by Mrs. Coburn, seconded by Mr. Reddick to adopt ordinance number 62-181. Thank you. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Thompson. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Coburn. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Reddick to adopt ordinance number 63-181. Mrs. Frye. The motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and seconded by Mrs. Angeloff to adopt ordinance number 44. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn to adopt ordinance. Any remarks? Motion to suspend. The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to adopt ordinance number 64. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to suspend. Motion for adoption. Carried.
Yes.
Motion to adopt. Miscellaneous and unfinished business. Second reading of communication from the mayor. Motion to suspend. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to suspend the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. To adopt ordinance number 61. Motion made by Mrs. Coburn, seconded by Mr. Reddick to adopt ordinance number 62-181. Thank you. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Thompson. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Coburn. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to adopt ordinance number 63-181. Mrs. Frye. The motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and seconded by Mrs. Angeloff to adopt ordinance number 44. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn to adopt ordinance. Any remarks? Motion to suspend. The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to adopt ordinance number 64. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to suspend. Motion for adoption. Carried. Motion to adopt. Miscellaneous and unfinished business. Second reading of communication from the mayor. Motion to suspend. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to suspend the rule as required by Section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. To adopt ordinance number 61. Motion made by Mrs. Coburn, seconded by Mr. Reddick to adopt ordinance number 62-181. Thank you. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Thompson. Motion to adopt, Mrs. Coburn. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to adopt ordinance number 63-181. Mrs. Frye. The motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and seconded by Mrs. Angeloff to adopt ordinance number 44. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn to adopt ordinance. Any remarks? Motion to suspend. The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to adopt ordinance number 64. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
The motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye to suspend. Motion for adoption. Carried. Motion to adopt. Miscellaneous and unfinished business. Second reading of communication from the mayor. Motion to suspend. Motion was made by Mrs. Coburn and seconded by Mrs. Frye.
Mr. President.
Motion to adopt, Mrs. Coble. Motion was made by Mrs. Stover and seconded by Mrs. President to adopt ordinance number 63, Mrs. Fryers. The motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and seconded by Mrs. Angeloff to adopt ordinance number 44. Motion was made by Mrs. Coble to adopt ordinance. Any remarks? Motion to second. The motion was made by Mrs. Coble and seconded by Mrs. Fry to adopt ordinance number 64. Mrs. Please call the roll. Yes. Back to the meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Motion was made by Mrs. Coble and seconded by Mrs. Fry to suspend the motion for adoption.
Yes.
Carried.
Yes.
Motion to adopt. Miscellaneous and unfinished business. Second, communication from the mayor. Motion to run report fast. Motion was made by Mrs. Coble and seconded by Mrs. Motion was made by Mrs. Cooper and seconded by Mrs. Fryer to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Charter. Motion to adopt. Motion to adopt. Motion made by Mrs. Stover and seconded by Mrs. President to adopt ordinance number 63. Mrs. Fryers. The motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and seconded by Mrs. Angeloff to adopt ordinance number 44. Motion was made by Mrs. Coble to adopt ordinance. Any remarks? Motion to second. The motion was made by Mrs. Coble and seconded by Mrs. Fry to adopt ordinance number 64. Mrs. Please call the roll. Back to the meeting. Clerk, please call the roll.
Yes. Yes.
Motion was made by Mrs. Coble and seconded by Mrs. Fry to suspend the motion for adoption.
Yes.
Carried.
Yes.
Motion to adopt. Miscellaneous and unfinished business. Second, communication from the mayor. Motion to run report fast. Motion was made by Mrs. Coble and seconded by Mrs. I'm sorry. I know you're the body, but I mean you had. So is there anything else? Motion was made by Mrs. Cooper and seconded by Mrs. Fryer to suspend the rule as required by section 5.10 of the Barberton City Motion to adopt. Motion to adopt.
Very faithful. Thanks, Bob.
Motion was made by Mrs. Thompson and seconded by Mrs. Angeloff to adopt ordinance number 44. Motion was made by Mrs. Coble to adopt ordinance. Any remarks? Motion to second. Motion was made by Mrs. Coble and seconded by Mrs. Fry to adopt ordinance number 64.
Also during his tenure, Thompson's grown exponentially, expanding its teen clientele program offerings for
Miscellaneous and unfinished business. Second, communication from the mayor. Motion to run report fast. Motion made by Mrs. Coble and seconded by Mrs. I'm sorry. I know you're the body, but I mean you had. So is there anything else? Motion made by Mrs. Cooper and seconded by the gallery. They had a meeting to go to, so that's fine. I went out a lot of places as well. With nothing else, do I have a motion to adjourn? Mr. Hyde? Thank you. Ms. Thompson?
Thank you, Mr. President. I will second.
Motion to adopt. Thank you. It was moved by Mr. Hyde and seconded by Mrs. Thompson that we adjourn. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed? None? All right. This meeting is adjourned at 7:20 p.m. By Mrs. Thompson and seconded by Mrs. Angela.